Hi and welcome to the Electric Singularity. Tesla has dropped their prices again. This time in Australia by around 4,000 Australian dollars. That's around about 3,000 US dollars. Now, the reason Tesla were able to do this is because they are making the cars they're delivering to Australia in China. And of course, the cost of manufacturing in China are lower. What does this mean for the rest of the world? Well, clearly it means for the rest of the world that Tesla cars are going to decrease in price substantially over time. As Tesla continues to ramp up manufacturing of the Model 3 and Model Y, and obviously when they make a new compact $25,000 electric car, well, over time as they continue to build cars in China, continue to refine their manufacturing processes, continue to build the machine that builds the machine that builds the machine, as we can see with things like the Giga Press, having new equipment that is faster and more efficient. Obviously, robotics are improving every year. And Tesla is looking at ways they can lower the cost of manufacturing, improve efficiency, improve quality, decrease the cost of battery cells, and overall provide a better vehicle at a lower price. And Tesla's constantly doing this. So what we're going to see in the future is Tesla's vehicles will continually decrease in price, not just in Australia, but all over the world. Obviously, for the Europeans, once Gigafactory Berlin opens, Tesla vehicles will be even cheaper to them. So, on that note, Maria Morano from Teslarati reports that Tesla has dropped the price of the Model 3 by $4,000 now that they're exporting cars from China to Australia rather than from California to Australia. Now, obviously, shipping is closer from China as well. They're probably saving a bit of money on the cost of shipping. They're saving money on the cost of batteries and obviously on the cost of production. Maria says, Tesla's strategy of exporting Model 3s from Gigafactory Shanghai to Australia seems to be bearing fruit, with the EV maker recently rolling out a series of price adjustments for the entry-level sedan. The price adjustments were notable, with vehicles like the Model 3 Standard Range Plus getting as much as an AU $4,000 discount off its cost. With its recent price adjustment, the Model 3 Standard Range Plus now costs Australian $63,000, about $48,000 US, $4,000 less than its previous price. The long-range dual-motor all-wheel drive variants costs saw a Australian $4,000 reduction as well, to Australian $78,000, about US $60,000. Lastly, the Model 3 Performance now sells for AU $89,900, which is about $1,000 less than its previous cost. However, the interesting thing to note here is why is it that the Performance model hasn't come down much in price? In fact, only very little. Only 25% of the discount the other models are now receiving. Well, interestingly, the Performance model is still manufactured in California. So clearly we can see the reason for the discount is primarily because the other two models, the base model and the long-range model, are coming from China. Interesting there. As you can see, though, by these prices in Australia, the prices are higher than in China and they're higher than in the US. Not by a whole lot, but by approximately 15% from my quick numbers I just did in my head right then. So, why are the prices higher? Well, one of the reasons is Tesla has to manufacture different cars, slightly different cars for the Australian market and the UK market and the Singapore market, because we have our steering wheel on the wrong side of the car, on the right-hand side. So, unfortunately, this means Tesla has to do a whole lot more work for our cars to put the steering wheel on the right side of the car, adding costs to the vehicle. In fact, Australia actually currently imports many American vehicles that we don't get converted from the factory. So Australia imports vehicles such as the F-150, the F-250, equivalent utes such as those from Ram and also from Chevy. We import those, and then when they come here, we actually change many components in the car, up to, I think, around about 200 different components, in order to remanufacture the car and put the steering wheel on the right-hand side. It's actually a big job. And this cost is usually between $20,000 and $30,000. So you can see the additional price that Tesla are charging on top of what they charge in America and China isn't really that much when you consider what they have to do. Tesla's vehicle prices in regions such as the United States have been volatile in recent months, and in Australia, this trend is somewhat the same. About 6 months ago, Tesla significantly lowered the prices of the Model 3 Standard Range Plus and Model 3 Long Range Dual Motor All-Wheel Drive by up to Australian $6,000, or about US $4,500. And the Model 3 Performance received an Australian $5,000 discount. With its current adjustment, the base model Standard Range Plus has now become 14% more affordable than it was 12 months ago in Australia. The vehicle's current prices also make the new entry-level Teslas more attractive than their second-hand counterparts available in the market. Second-hand Model 3s in Australia command a very, very high price, with some cars being listed around the AU 68,000 mark. Now, obviously, one of the other reasons for this is because if you want to order a Tesla in Australia, not just in Australia, in most countries in the world, if you want to order a Tesla, then there is between a 2 to 6 month wait. So Tesla takes cars, they basically build a car to order, which is very different to other car makers, Mercedes, BMW, pretty much Toyota, almost every brand. They just simply build cars and ship them to a country and then try to sell what's in the lot. Whereas Tesla takes orders and then builds to order. And they don't do that all the time, but they do that much more often than other manufacturers do. And obviously this is a huge advantage because you can see with their sales, for example, last quarter, Tesla built 180,000 cars and they actually delivered 185,000 cars. So they delivered 5,000 more cars than they actually built over that entire period of time. Now, obviously, if you look at other manufacturers, the numbers are nowhere near this positive because other manufacturers can't predict really accurately, except for on their most popular models, exactly what models will sell. And this is the reason why every manufacturer on the planet, well, every manufacturer aside from Tesla at this point in time, has discontinued a huge number of models over the last 30 years. As you know, many Toyota models no longer exist, many Mercedes models no longer exist. Quite a wide range of different models, spec ranges I'm talking about here, specifications of different models no longer exist. It's not just Australia that has seen a price drop in the Model 3. Just recently, Tesla also rolled out price cuts for the Model 3 in Japan by up to 24%, also thanks in part to the sedan now being sourced from Gigafactory Shanghai, obviously very close to Japan. So far, Tesla Japan's price reductions seem to be working as the Model 3 sales have risen 1,300% in Japan. I expect to see similar rises of sales a large number of countries. For example, once Giga Berlin begins making Model 3 and Model Y and is able to then reduce the prices as they won't have to ship those cars from California, and also as they'll be using probably better technology to build those cars, they'll be able to reduce the costs in Europe. You can imagine we'll see similar increases in sales of Tesla vehicles in countries like neighboring countries of Germany, obviously such as France, Belgium, and a range of other countries, Switzerland. You know, there's many countries in Europe that are going to benefit from the Gigafactory in Berlin. Obviously, this will push Tesla sales up dramatically in those countries. For many people, a 10% price decrease can make a huge difference to affordability. And remember, in many countries in Europe, there are significant subsidies. In Australia, we don't have any EV subsidies. In fact, we have an EV tax. Believe it or not, I believe Australia is the only country in the world with an EV tax. It's insane. However, fortunately, many European countries pro-EV and they have EV incentives. So in addition to the discounts Tesla will be able to offer in the future on their cars, buyers will be able to get incentives from their local governments to buy the car as well. Add those two things together, we're going to see more and more people buying electric cars and more people buying Teslas. Our most popular comment comes from Jihan Katili, and he says, prices have been cut in New Zealand too. Interesting. I'd be intrigued to know just how many countries prices have been cut over the last, say, 3 months since Gigafactory in Shanghai has really started to produce more vehicles. Maybe that will enable even more price reductions in the Australia Pacific and the Indonesian sort of Southeast Asian area as well that we haven't heard about. I'd be interested to know. If anyone knows, let me know in the comments. Play TOE says 52,500 minus 12% equals 48,500 US dollars. Now, what will happen if Tesla keeps on achieving even a 10% price reduction per year? It means that after 2025, ICE cars will simply not be able to compete on base price. And here he's got a chart that by 2025, the Model 3 will cost 31,500 minus 10% equals $28,344. Plus, obviously, the fact that the Biden administration are looking at potentially giving a $10,000 credit to purchase an EV. Now, you can imagine just how affordable that's going to make EVs in America. Now, Pork on Fork has responded and said, given the very little incentives here in Australia, my wife got an MG ZS EV, which is a Chinese company now. Obviously, MG used to be a British company, but China bought the brand and simply recreated the brand. There's no ties whatsoever between the original English MG and the new Chinese MG other than the name of the brand. So Pork on Fork has bought an MG ZS EV, which is actually in the top 10 selling cars this month. MG has massively climbed the ranks, and we can see that this is an indication of how the way that Chinese EVs are gaining huge popularity, not just Chinese Tesla-made EVs, but other branded EVs. So there, he's bought a car which he says he's happily fulfilling his wife's daily drive of 100 to 150 kilometers. That being said, I intend to trade my CX-5 for a Model Y long range when available. So price adjustments in this direction can only be a good thing. Definitely for us Aussies, price adjustments for Tesla models are an awesome thing. Now, I'd be very happy to pay what Tesla is going to charge Americans for the Cybertruck for my reservation. But I'm looking forward to getting that. However, I believe the Tesla tracker shows there is now 990,000 reservations for the Cybertruck. So I may not get my Cybertruck for some time to come. Guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.